Hey, everybody. I'm here with Dr. Reed DePace. He is a core faculty member at BTS, and he's also the pastor of the historic First Presbyterian Church in Montgomery, Alabama. And so, Dr. DePace, thank you for taking a few minutes to talk with us. And I'd love to just hear a little bit about kind of your current ministry and what you do at BTS.
Well, current ministry here at First Presbyterian, we celebrated our 200th anniversary in 2024.
That's a big one.
It is. And being a church this old in the deep South, we've kind of gone through the various permutations of what's happening to the church in America, and we're a little bit ahead. We're much smaller now, but we've got a healthy congregation. I call it a Puritan-sized congregation. I'll let people look that up. And the average age right now is about 25 to 20,
Wow.
and a number of babies coming along. And so me as a grandfather, just in the last few years, I'm finding out that you're not allowed to say you're tired. Just keep your hand to the plow and keep moving.
Keep going forward.
Yes, it's a blessing.
Well, that's fantastic to hear that about, that church. I mean, as you know, in the grand scheme of things, there's a lot of historic churches that are just dying. And so to hear, a historic church that still the gospel's going forth, there's young families. I mean, what an encouragement. Just a good reminder that God is still at work and working through ordinary means, which that's fantastic.
Here's something that'll encourage you. I looked this up for a sermon series in Revelation I'm producing in the near future. The church in Philadelphia, that congregation maintained its presence until 1923, when they were relocated into a suburb north of Athens. So their daughter church is still there. It's quite interesting, the faithfulness of God to small churches.
Man, this is unreal.
Yeah, really is. So,
Now you not only pastor and are a grandpa, but you also teach at BTS. What do you teach for us?
wow, I've been around for a little bit now, and one person actually described me as the drunk drawer guy. When there was no one to teach a particular course, or they needed to get something new started, they threw me at it. And I actually have taught introduction to a number of different subjects. I'm really good at that. Introduction to hermeneutics, apologetics. Most recently, I've been working on the introduction to covenants and have really been blessed to teach that a few times. I have taught a bit the confession and catechisms. And right this semester, I've actually put together a new course we're working through, conflict resolution in the church. And that it's a lot more popular than I thought it was going to be. I now have 40 students in it.
Wow.
So I was like, okay.
Sure. Man, that's fantastic. And so as you've been teaching with BTS and have taught a variety of courses, what's your interaction been with students? What has your kind of take on the caliber of student been at BTS in your time?
Yeah, I approach that kind of question from the perspective of the kind of criticism that sometimes BTS would receive. It's not a bricks and mortar primarily.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. I understand it. I went to a really good bricks and mortar seminary. I'm very grateful.
Me too.
So, and yet I look at BTS and I look at what I would have needed if BTS had been available before I had known about it. Then I may very well have tried to use BTS because of my family circumstances. And so what I see in the students are they tend to be very seriously committed. They really are interested in serving the Lord, and they know they need to get some quality equipping. And they don't necessarily have the resources to pack up and move, support a family, and then move on. And so many of the students are in that ordinary sweet spot, late 20s, early 30s, and they've got families already started, and they need a place that's going to deliver them the goods, as it were, and help them develop the skills they're going to need to minister, yet without leaving the existing location where they're already ministering to their first church, their families, and then to their local church.
Mm-hmm.
And so normally these young men and women are highly committed, and they're already involved in ministry, and they know if they're going to serve the Lord well, they need to take advantage of some deeper training. And that combined with the pricing scheme for Brigham Theological Seminary, and even the digital, I enjoy face-to-face. The digital has just been absolutely fantastic. I've been blessed to see that Zoom is not 100% exactly the same, but so close that I've become some good friends with a few of the students that have been repeats, and I've been really blessed by them.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, as I tell students, look, I mean, we love our sister brick and mortar seminaries. We also teach residential classes, in kind of a traditional fashion. But one of the things that kind of sets BTS apart is that if you love where you live, we love that you love where you live, and we want to keep you there.
Amen.
And we don't want to cause any more disruption than needs to happen. And we actually think you're going to get better discipleship. Your classes are going to make more sense. You're going to get to test your gifts. You're actually going to kind of have a little bit more freedom to fail because you're in a local community that knows you and loves you, and they want to see you do well. And so, and also, to your point, one thing that did happen during COVID is it made everybody learn how to use Zoom overnight. Yes. And so now everybody's used to it. And what that means is, just like you and I are having a conversation right now, you can be taught in a live setting with a lot of really good feedback and interaction, because not only are your students used to using it, but also your professors are used to using it. And so you don't spend the first 15 minutes of the class going, how does the camera work? Is this on? You can just teach the class. And, we really think that's a benefit for our students because it's less expense, it's less time, it's less travel. You can get the goods, as to use your words,
yes,
in a way that makes sense and at a price that makes sense, and keep them in a community so they don't have to uproot their lives and they can follow God's call and stay put, which I think is fantastic. And I think that's why BTS is growing.
It's interesting just to highlight that one point about staying put and ministering where they are. Rather than have limited opportunities to be involved with the students' lives, it's real simple. Just take more time. Just get on Zoom. And so I've had opportunities to come alongside of different interns and different people in ministry in different locations, some as far away as India and Hungary, and literally just enter into their circumstances and help them work through different issues they're talking about and things that they're addressing. And what really encourages me, in submission to what their local pastor and elders are wanting them to do. I had one guy tell me recently that every time he finishes a BTS course, and he's taken, I think, 3 with me now, the pastor says, so what are you studying this semester? Good, that's what you're teaching in Sunday school next semester.
Yeah, but what a great way to actually put into play what you're learning in real time. As you and I both well know, you don't really know the material until you actually have to teach it. And so, being able to do just that is really helpful for our students. And one of the things that I think is helpful is, when I went to a traditional brick and mortar seminary, much like you, everybody's kind of regionally focused. Everybody's just kind of there living in the same town. And one of the benefits of BTS is you might be interacting with students on the other side of the country, outside of the country, north, south, east, west, everybody, is living in a little bit different place. And so it's nice to be able to kind of talk with each other and say, hey, how are you seeing this applied in your backyard versus maybe overseas? And I think that adds just a lot of depth to what you're studying.
It does. It most certainly does. In fact, one of the interesting blessings you bring up is the idea of the communion, the unity that we have with one another. Everything's different everywhere. And at the same time, everything's the same everywhere.
The same everywhere, right? So it's like conflict in the church. That's why you have a lot of students. Well, when you think about we do videos like this to help prospective students get a feel for BTS and kind of get a peek behind the curtain, as it were. And so, talking with a professor like yourself, if there was a prospective student that's watching this and is considering BTS and is considering, this maybe a different model that they might not be used to, but BTS is kind of a contender for them. What encouragement would you give to them to really check BTS out as far as like, a real, as I say, varsity level seminary that you can get great training? What encouragement would you give to a prospective student?
Well, I'd encourage them first to contact you. And then the possibility of sitting in a class or two. I know that in our class, that's always welcome. Then the other thing, probably more substantial, a little bit more meat on the bones. I would encourage them to take a look at the next semester schedule. And we run, 3 or 4 a year at this point. And take a look at that schedule. And then just sit there and look at the intro level courses, the lower numbered courses, because they're going to be the ones that are going to have the less amount of intensity. And it's a good way to step in, not a lot of money, to just check it out and go, yeah, I like this. Yeah, this scratches some itches for me. I could see myself doing this. And it's a brief period of time. And it really helps satisfy the different concerns and the questions that are going to be asked.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice in terms of, I do tell prospective students as they're looking, I'm like, just try a class and see what happens. You might like it, or it might open up another line of inquiry. You might hear something in class and in your mind, you go, I've never really studied that before, but that's interesting to me. And I'd like to kind of maybe chase that a little bit further. BTS offers such a kind of a low impact way to kind of try seminary on. That I think is really helpful and kind of unique in the seminary world.
Yes, I would agree. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Well, Dr. DePace, we are so grateful for you and for your ministry in Montgomery and you teaching for BTS so faithfully. And I hope this is a help to some prospective students out there. And we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. And if anybody's down in the Montgomery area hanging out and looking for a church to go worship in on a Sunday morning, we hope that you'll go to First Pres in Montgomery and go meet Dr. DePace in person. And thank you so much, Dr. DePace, for spending some time with us.
Well, thank you, Dave. I'm grateful to do it.